three.
Alright, what up all my people? Welcome back to another video. Before I get this thing started, let me just say one thing. I just dropped a full podcast with Athletic Alchemy. We did this thing yesterday. I just put it up this afternoon. He put it up on his Patreon last night. Go ahead and check that out. We're gonna go over the Kyrie trade predictions, whether Cleveland pulls out or not, whether they're bluffing or not, as well as how serious Isaiah's injury concerns are, and then just some other general predictions for the standings next season. Which teams will make the playoffs, mainly the top 3 teams in both conferences, and then the 8th seed as well. So be sure to check that out. The link will be in the description down below, as well as at the end of this video. And while you're over there, that's on my second channel. While you're over there, leave it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on post notifications. There's going to be a lot more podcasts, a lot of things of that nature coming soon on that channel, so make sure you go subscribe and turn on notifications right now. James Michael McAdoo. Y'all know the man? Now, a certain majority of my followers, they know this man McAdoo. Those followers of a certain fandom that will withhold to avoid any salty tears. But all joking aside, every now and then I like to highlight these young prospects, hidden talent, hidden gems of the league, if you will. James Michael McAdoo, the 24-year-old forward, agreed to a 2-way contract with the Philadelphia 76ers. Many of you, if you do know him, probably only know him by name, or you haven't heard of him at all. And if you have heard of him, it's a good chance only because he was a Golden State Warrior during these golden years, during these championship runs. Now, earlier, obviously, that was just a little bit of teasing. But yes, I am a Warriors fan. And as Warriors fans, we have many luxuries at this moment. But one luxury that's extremely underappreciated is the fact that even with all this star power, that management and the coaching staff, they have to devote so much energy towards creating a thriving system where these guys can be as efficient as possible, have as much success as possible. Even with all that going on, they still have reserved enough time, enough energy to the scouting side of things, the development of things. All these stars, all the stars on the team, the entire coaching staff, they put a great deal of stress and focus on the young talent, from finding in the second round, even without having a single draft pick, to developing it, the coaching staff, the players being role models, Jordan Bell being taken under the wing of Draymond Green. In previous years, Andre Iguodala taking Patrick McCaw under his wing. It just sort of creates a vacuum of success within that entire organization, and the young guys feed off of that. So as fans, we get to watch these dudes make a name for themselves. These transitions of unknown to underdog is like watching the character development on a well-made TV show. Seasons of basketball relative to seasons in a television series, with plot arcs throughout. A character hits a low, aka he gets sent to the G League, has a breakout performance, he's brought back up, contributes in a couple of victories. That's the climax in episode 46 or game 46 of the season, whatever it is. Well, right now, we just capped off the offseason with a cliffhanger for McAdoo. He signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. How will he contribute? Will he even earn a spot on the team? That's something we'll talk about a little bit later in the video. But now we get to see what kind of leap he's going to take in this new environment, or if any at all, with perhaps more minutes, perhaps a bigger role. But Philly fans, Warriors fans, all NBA basketball fans that are interested in taking a look at the hidden prospects of the league, that's what I make this video for. Regardless of the fact that it's not a catchy or a hot topic that'll get all the views, we're going to take a minute to assess James Michael McAdoo and what kind of impact he could have on that young Philadelphia 76ers squad. First thing that comes in mind is just more length, more athleticism, more defensive versatility. Another guy to add to the combo of Covington, Simmons, Anderson, and Embiid on the inside. With his interior defense and his rebounding, they now have a multitude of solid players to fall into a system, both with the rebounding, with perimeter defense, interior defense. They got enough combinations to keep everything moving, keep everything smooth on the defensive end. Even with their youth, they still have a plus by having all of these pieces. And if they're coached well enough, they can accomplish some big things in the next season or two. But James Michael McAdoo, he can fall into that system perfectly, seamlessly. He has the length, he has the athleticism, he has the defense, he goes after it on the boards, the hustle, the mentality, he leaves it all out on the floor. On top of that, he's only a prospect, but he has inside info after playing for a championship contender. He knows how to conduct himself within a system, to buy into a system. Basically, he can be a young player to add to a young team who still has a good sense of how winning works and who is open to guidance and open to being bought into a system and quote-unquote trusting the process as most other Philadelphia players have bought into. So he could be a leader in that sense, not so much a leader in terms of follow me or listen to me, but a leader in terms of, like me, you should listen to the higher-ups and listen to guidance from the coach for the game plan, how everything's going to work on defense, all of that. Regardless of the age, regardless of the fact he's only 24 years old, they kind of have someone that they can trust in him because he's played in a winning organization like Golden State. And even if he wasn't a huge piece of that team, he was a huge part of that locker room, and he was around for many of it. Many people on the Golden State Warriors said that James Michael McAdoo was one of their favorite guys on the team, and a lot of the guys idolized him, even though he's so young at only 24, and he barely gets any run. He barely even cracked the rotation down there in Golden State. And that's how I think he'll bring them the most success, and where I think his biggest pro is in actually giving him a chance to crack that rotation. I know Philadelphia may be looking at it right now to simply have another guy to bring up from the G League in the case that there's any injuries. Now, obviously, when all the team is willing to guarantee for a player is a two-way contract, or in previous years, a training camp invite, obviously in that case, that player is going to have some weaknesses or some risks, at least, that the team is not willing to expose themselves to until maybe after they see a little bit more of them. And what is that for McAdoo? The offensive end. He struggles with shooting, and he's just not a scorer. His shooting is far from refined. You can't rely on him even to pop a mid-range. But the lack of scoring, the lack of shooting, that may have been a bigger problem for the Philadelphia 76ers last year. But now, with this Redick addition, with adding Fultz through the draft, they got multiple capable scorers, now multiple capable shooters as well, with Dario Saric and Robert Covington coming back, Justin Anderson, who they picked up last season. That makes up for that. That makes up for that offensive end. I believe that's enough to make up for that. Their floor isn't going to be spread out that great on offense. They don't have that many shooters, but they're stocked enough. And then they can let McAdoo do what he does best on the offensive end. His niche is just using his raw athletic ability, either to rebound, to hustle for loose balls, to defend, to block shots. And on the offensive end, again, it's the same. It's going to be his athletic ability, which is really the only way James Michael McAdoo is going to score. He's very good at cutting to the basket, getting himself open right under the rim, the same as what he does when he's crashing the boards, when he's defending the paint, when he's blocking shots. He uses his athleticism. That is his main strength. That's what he uses in almost all corners of his game. The good thing is that he can use this athleticism. He can use this speed to get past some of the slower power forwards of the league. Get inside. There's a few playmakers on Philadelphia. They're not stacked with playmakers. Markelle Fultz, that's putting a lot of pressure on a rookie to step up as a point guard. However, they still got Simmons. Embiid can pass the ball a little bit for a big man. Any of these guys can set McAdoo up inside and let him capitalize on his biggest offensive strength, which is cutting to the basket, getting open under the rim. Quick, easy dunks, throw him an alley-oop, get the crowd involved. That's really where McAdoo's positive lies. Other than the mindset, other than the fact that he was on a stacked Golden State Warrior team with tons of veterans, tons of stars, yet he was one of the most influential guys in that locker room, and all of the players on the Golden State Warriors loved him. He had the respect, and he sure as hell should bring that with him to those young guys in Philadelphia then. Now, he's likely to be going up against that rookie that Philadelphia selected late in the first round, the Turkish rookie. His name is Furkan Korkmaz. I don't know much about him at all. Just say he's a 6'7" guard / wing. I'm pretty sure that Philadelphia's roster is already capped off at 15 players. But they do have this two-way contract now. So in the case of injury, they could call up on James Michael McAdoo. And we know that the Philadelphia 76ers are quite injury prone. They got quite a few injury prone players on that roster. So he may have an opening there, and if he comes in and he performs well in place of someone else, he may earn a spot on the team as maybe crack the rotation as a forward. I hope he does, because with a bigger role, I do believe McAdoo can be a solid contributor on a playoff basketball team. With the Golden State Warriors, not so much. They have way too much depth. But with another team like Philadelphia, I think he fits the mold very well. He can basically be a Nerlens Noel replacement. I kind of look at McAdoo as a poor man's Noel, which isn't the greatest rating by any means, but he does have plenty of upside, just like Nerlens Noel. Obviously, Noel betting on that upside with that contract that he accepted. He accepted the qualifying offer instead of taking, I believe it was 4 years, $70 million. So Nerlens Noel believes in himself. He believes he can grow, become a more complete basketball player. For James Michael McAdoo, I do believe he can grow. I don't think he'll ever be a complete basketball player, if you want to call it that. Not in any sense, but he can play his role, and he can play his role well, provide energy, hustle off the bench, grab some rebounds, slam some dunks home, excite the crowd a little bit, and get back on the bench. Little 5-minute stints, kind of like a JaVale McGee role. I do believe that whatever slot they have for Furkan, maybe it's the 14th or the 15th, I think him and McAdoo will be there in training camp battling that out. Maybe they both end up in the G League, but seeing who comes up first as an injury replacement on the team, or maybe who is experimented with in that lineup to see if they'd be any good as a part of the final rotation early in the season. Alright, last but not least, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section down below which prospects you want me to do a quick analysis review on next. Relevant prospects that may have just signed with a new team or something like that, or may have just been drafted, steal rookies that people haven't really talked about much. Let me know who you want to see next. I'll be back soon, so keep your notifications on. Clay Allen, stay ballin', signing off. Peace.